Shri M. Karunanidhi, wrote a letter to the Prime Minister on the Sri Lanka issue with particular reference to the resolution that is under consideration by the United Nations Human Rights Council, the UNHRC. Shri A.K. Antony, Shri Ghulam Nabi Azad and I visited Chennai on 18/3/2013 to discuss the contents of the letter with Shri M. Karunanidhi and his senior colleagues. As you're aware, and as disclosed by Shri M. Karunanidhi, the DMK urged the government to bring amendments to the draft resolution before the UNHRC and also to take steps to bring a resolution to be adopted by Parliament. We returned to Delhi late on the night of 18/3/2013. On the morning of 19/3/2013, Srimati Sonia Gandhi addressed the Congress Parliamentary Party and stated, inter alia, and I quote, "The plight of Tamils in Sri Lanka is very close to our hearts. Our support for their equal rights and equal protection of the laws to them has been unwavering since the days of Indira Ji and Rajiv Ji. We are most pained at the manner in which their legitimate political rights continue to be denied to them. We are anguished by reports of unspeakable atrocities on innocent civilians and children, especially during the last days of the conflict of 2009. That is why we demand an independent and credible inquiry into the violation of human rights in Sri Lanka." Unquote. Shortly thereafter, at about 10 a.m., the core group met to discuss the outcome of the meeting in Chennai. It was decided to formulate amendments to the draft resolution before the UNHRC. It was also decided to consult political parties on bringing a resolution to be adopted by Parliament. Even as the meeting was underway, the media reported that Shri M. Karunanidhi had announced that the DMK would withdraw its ministers from the government and would withdraw support to the UPA. He also stated that if Parliament adopted a resolution before the end of the current sittings, the DMK would reconsider its decision. We are not aware of the reasons why the DMK changed its position between the night of 18th March and the morning of 19th March. Nevertheless, government began to formulate amendments to the draft resolution before the UNHRC. The amendments were finalized yesterday. India's permanent representative to the UNHRC is in Delhi for consultations. He will be given suitable instructions to move the amendments at the meeting of the UNHRC. A section of the media has reported that India worked with the United States to dilute the text of the draft resolution. This is a canard. The story is stoutly denied. India's position has always been and remains that the UNHRC should adopt a strong resolution that would send a resolute message to Sri Lanka and goad Sri Lanka to accept an independent and credible investigation. On the issue of a resolution to be adopted by Parliament, my colleague, the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Shri Kamal Nath, began consultations yesterday with the political parties. Opinion on the matter is divided. The consultations are continuing, and it may be possible to reach a conclusion only later today. The core group and other senior ministers met several times yesterday to review the situation. Even as another meeting was underway late last night, DMK leaders met the President of India and gave a letter withdrawing support. We are not aware of the reasons why the DMK changed its position between the morning of 19th March and the night of 19th March. In the meanwhile, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has written a letter dated 18th March to the Prime Minister, urging that India should move amendments to the draft resolution before the UNHRC. As far as the government is concerned, our position is that we intend to move amendments to the draft resolution before the UNHRC. We will also continue to consult political parties on bringing a resolution to be adopted by Parliament.
We have a resolution there is consensus, or at least good consensus in the House. These consultations are on. I propose in the next few hours to continue with these consultations, and on there being some kind of a consensus. Obviously, some parties will say they don't want it. Somebody will say, if we have it, we're going to have this content. Somebody is going to say that let's have it with any content. This will continue. These consultations will continue for the next couple of hours, and then the core group will take a decision on this matter. I will report back to the core group the result of the consultations, and we'll have a decision thereafter. The press has reported that the government is shaky, the government is lame duck. I want to reiterate, the government is neither lame, neither the government duck. We are not a lame duck government. We are absolutely stable, and if there is any test, the test is on the floor of the House. No political party has come out, challenged the majority of this government. That is very clear. So I want to reiterate that we are a stable government, and we'll continue with the work we have been doing, continue with all the policy decisions we've been taking, and which we have to take. I wanted to reiterate that. मैं ये बात स्पष्ट करना चाहता हूँ कि गवर्नमेंट पूरी तरह स्थिर है. कोई शक शंका किसी को इस बात पर नहीं होनी चाहिए. हाउस में, सदन में किसी ने इसे चुनौती नहीं दी है, किसी ने हमारी बहुमत को चैलेंज नहीं किया है, और हर प्रकार से स्थिर है. कोई परेशानी का प्रश्न नहीं है, और जिस प्रकार हमारा कार्य चल रहा था, ये कार्य चलता रहेगा. The question is whether we should have a resolution. As you know, the BJP said that we don't want a country specific. You shouldn't name any country. If you don't name any country and you have a resolution in the context of the situation, the UNHRC discussions taking place in Geneva and the subsequent vote, then what is the resolution? There are issues of what should be the words used. There are issues on the language, on some of the calls which a resolution would obviously contain. So these are issues which political parties have diverse opinions.
Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one.
Neelam to call you, please.
Just let's go. I'll call everybody. Yes,
It's not just the BJP, sir. It's even your own allies. For example, Sharad Pawar, we are told, is not very happy with the country-specific resolution. So how are you going to be at least convincing your own allies? First, you have to convince them, at least the ones that are remaining, before you go to the opposition. And also, what is the language of the resolution likely to be? I know you are consulting political parties, but the fact is it likely to be on the same lines as the US resolution, or is it going to be a little stronger, which is what the DMK is demanding?
Well, when you talk of Mr. Sharad Pawar, I've had a meeting with him. He has some views on it, but he did reiterate to me that he'll go along with the government on whatever decision is taken. He has expressed some views, and where the question of content is concerned, that is why we are having consultations. That's precisely the reason what we are consulting political parties. And once these consultations, as I said, whether to have a resolution, then the content, these are two different things. Once these have been discussed, then only we'll move further on it.
Yes, just 1 minute, please.
மத்திய நிதி அமைச்சர் உங்கள்கிட்ட ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்கணும். இலங்கை இறுதி கட்ட போர் நடந்த போது தமிழகத்தில் கருணாநிதி முதல்வராக இருந்தார். அப்பொழுது இப்ப இருந்து நடைபெற்ற கொடுமைகள், மனித உரிமை மீறல்கள், போர்க்குற்றங்கள்லாம் அப்ப அவருக்கு தெரியலையா? இப்ப காங்கிரசுக்கு ஒரு நிர்பந்தம் ஏற்படுத்த வேண்டும் ஒரு காரணத்தினாலோ, அல்லது தேர்தல் நெருங்குவதனால 2004க்கு முன்னாடி என்டிஏலேருந்து திரும்பி வந்த போது இப்ப காங்கிரஸ்லேருந்து வெளில வரதுக்கு அவர் காரணம் கண்டுபிடித்து இப்ப வெளில வந்திருக்காரா? இந்த இலங்கை தமிழ் விவகாரத்துல தமிழக மக்களால் தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்ட ஒரு மாநில அரசை ஏன் மத்திய அரசு இதுவரை கலந்து ஆலோசிக்கவில்லை?
திராவிட முன்னேற்றக் கழகத்தினுடைய அரசியல் குறித்து கேட்ட கேள்விகளுக்கெல்லாம் என்னால் இப்பொழுது பதில் சொல்ல இயலாது. நான் பதில் சொல்ல விரும்பவில்லை. தமிழ்நாடு முதலமைச்சர் பிரதமருக்கு கடிதம் எழுதியிருக்கிறார். அந்த கடிதத்தில் மனித உரிமை கழகத்தில் கொண்டு வரப்படும் தீர்மானத்துக்கு உரிய திருத்தங்களை கொண்டு வர வேண்டும் என்ற ஒரு கோரிக்கை வைக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. நாங்கள் அந்த கடிதத்தையும் பரிசீலனை செய்து உரிய திருத்தங்களை வரைந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். The question was, why have you not consulted the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu? That's not entirely correct. The Chief Minister, as I said, has written a letter. The letter requests that government should move amendments to the draft resolution of the UNHRC. We are drafting those amendments. Once those amendments are finalized, of course, we will share it with the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
Yes, Nandita, please, just a moment, just a moment. Just a moment, please, just a moment, yeah.
Yadav has just made a statement in Parliament saying that the Congress does not know how to treat its allies, and you need to introspect. Aren't you worried that now you're dependent on the whims and fancies of the SP and BSP?
Not a question of whims and fancies whenever you are in an alliance, whether it is pre-poll or post-poll or any kind of an alliance. You do have to consult and engage with all your allies and supporters all the time. So that's a fact of life. It's that we were 207 or 208 is not happened today. This was on day one. And we did build our numbers, which we continue to have, based on some alliances which were pre-poll and some which were post-poll.
Yes, Karthikeya, please, just a moment.
Just a moment.
Just a moment, please. Please have
please
patience.
understand that we are concluding the 9th year of the government. We have run an alliance for 9 years, and therefore I think obviously there's some talent available within the government to run an alliance.
Yes, Karthikeya, please.
Sir, is there any possibility of dialogue left with DMK? And one question to you, sir, that Ram Gopal Yadav has also said that Vajpayee's tenure gave a good government, barring the episode of Gujarat.
Well, as has been said, we've run for 9 years, and no doors are ever shut. Doors and windows are always open with everybody. So that is a situation in any parliamentary democracy. Where what Ram Gopal Yadav has said is for him to comment upon, but whether he finds the BJP good or bad, I do not know what he said, so I don't want to comment on it.
Swaraj, please.
Yes.
Just a moment, please.
No, wait.
Please, Himanshu.
Wait.
So the demand for a resolution in Parliament essentially has come from the DMK. But now that the DMK is no longer part of the UPA, is there a need for the resolution to be moved at this stage also after the DMK has left? Because as you are saying that there is no unanimity among the political parties on such a resolution. So now does it mean, I mean, since you've also spoken in Tamil, does it mean that the Congress itself is trying to address the Tamil Nadu voters there on this issue and sort of try and link yourself to the issue as well?
Political parties, every political party represents a section of the people. There are people in Tamil Nadu, there are Tamils in Tamil Nadu, outside Tamil Nadu, there is a Tamil diaspora around the world. And therefore, whatever the Congress does, and this has been our position since the days of Indira Ji and Rajiv Ji, we have always stood by the rights of Tamils, equal protection of the laws and equality before the law. Now, if the Tamil sentiment has to be reflected in Parliament, it can only be reflected through an appropriate resolution. But as my colleague rightly and pointed out, whether we should have a resolution and what is the content of the resolution are matters that are under discussion. Since somebody has raised a subject, discussions were started yesterday. The discussions have not concluded. It's only later in the day we would be in a position to say whether we will have a resolution, and if so, what will be the content of the resolution.
No, but since the DMK has pulled out, is it at this stage?
It's nothing to do with the DMK raising it or DMK pulling out. Question is, should the sentiments and the anguish of the Tamil people be reflected in a resolution? That's the question.
It was articulated even in the Congress President's address to the Congress Parliamentary Party yesterday,
Which has been
reflected in the statement.
सर आप लोग रेजोल्यूशन पे काम कर रहे हैं, क्या आपको उम्मीद है कि डीएमके इस रेजोल्यूशन के बाद मान जाएगा और यूपीए में रहने पे सहमत हो जाएगा?
हमें डीएमके के लिए ये रेजोल्यूशन की बात नहीं है कि डीएमके ने सपोर्ट विड्रॉ कर ली तो इसलिए रेजोल्यूशन नहीं आएगा। कल से जब मैं दूसरी सब राजनीतिक दलों से चर्चा कर रहा था, मैंने उनसे ये बात कही थी कि ये डीएमके के कारण नहीं है, ये अलायंस के कारण नहीं है, ये है कि तमिल भावनाओं को देखते हुए क्या हमें ऐसा प्रस्ताव लाना चाहिए और अगर लाएं तो किस प्रकार का होए। तो ये बात डीएमके से जुड़ी हुई नहीं है।
जी
मेरा एक सवाल है,
उसके पीछे माना जा रहा है कि 2G के तार भी जुड़े हुए हैं।
No, I think you're bringing in unnecessary issues. I will only use the word unnecessary. We are discussing a serious issue. The issue of the views of 8 crore Tamil people, which is being expressed in various ways, including demonstrations and protests by students. And I do not think it's fair to bring in other issues into the issue that is now under discussion, namely the Sri Lanka issue.
Yes, please.
मणि सर, जब कल आपसे बातचीत हो रही थी तो आपने
Just Sanjay, please, let's give somebody else a chance.
Sir, after the withdrawal of support by DMK, sir, how comfortable government will be to forward its legislative agenda in the parliament, particularly on reforms like land acquisition bill, food security bill, or FDI insurance and the pension sector? And a hypothetical question, will you favor early polls in case you fail to push your legislative agenda?
No, only yesterday we passed a very, very important bill, the Criminal Law Amendment Bill. Only yesterday. And today I'm confident that the Rajya Sabha will return the appropriation bill and the Jharkhand budget will be returned by the Rajya Sabha. We have a legislative agenda lined up. The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs has legislative business for the next couple of days. All these bills are necessary for the country. All these bills are necessary to take the economy forward. And I'm sure on the merits of each bill, there will be enough political parties who will come forward to support the government and pass the bills. We have no doubt that each one of these bills stands on its own merit and will be passed on its own merit.
Aditi, please. Just 1 minute, I'm coming to Aditi. Aditi, please.
Some within the government also are suggesting that perhaps the timing of the DMK is suspect, given that the voting in the UNHRC is only on the 22nd of March. So why now? So many questioning whether this is just getting ready for early elections, given that some of your allies have pulled out and some who are still there, whether outside the government as well, are asserting themselves more.
That's not correct. That's not correct at all. That's all I can say very briefly.
Minister,
सरकार को कोई खतरा नहीं है, पार्लियामेंट में किसी ने आपके खिलाफ कोई प्रस्ताव भी पेश नहीं किया, लेकिन आपकी जो सरकार की इमेज है वो लगातार सहयोगियों के बाहर जाने से खराब नहीं हो रही है, या और कोई सहयोगी आप नई सरकार में लाएंगे?
देखिए, सहयोगी को सरकार में लाने का अभी प्रश्न नहीं उठा है। अगर कोई आना चाहेंगे हम चर्चा करेंगे, पर ये जो आपने छवि की बात करी, इमेज की बात करी, ये भी सही नहीं है, क्योंकि छवि सरकार के कार्यों से होती है, सरकार की नियत और नीति से होती है, और इसकी पहचान आम जनता में है। तो हमें इस बात की कि इमेज खराब हो रही है क्योंकि डीएमके चली गई, डीएमके ने सपोर्ट विड्रॉ कर ली, मैं नहीं मानता इसका कोई संबंध है।
Mr. Chidambaram, I have a question about what my colleague asked in a slightly different way. You are now on more crutches than you were previously, and a person on more crutches is usually more weak. So I'm just wondering if, and foreign investors and others are also asking us and others, whether the appetite for reform in government is now dulled, not just through the legislative route, but also the, you yourself said that FDI caps are going to be increased in some sectors. There are going to be other things that you're going to do. it's true that you have a numerical majority, but you don't, I mean, you are weaker than you were previously.
This is a wrong perception. Government functions through making laws as well as through executive action. The division between making laws and executive action is quite clear in the Constitution. Now, we are in government. We have a duty to steer the ship, even if there is a mild storm in the sea. And we have our hand firmly on the wheel. We will continue to take decisions. We will continue to push for legislation. Only yesterday, the cabinet cleared the food security bill. Now, if you think that the government is weak, do you think we could have pushed the food security bill yesterday? The bill will be introduced in Parliament, and I'm absolutely confident, as I said to an earlier question, there'll be enough support in Parliament to pass each bill, because each of these bills stands on its own merit and deserves to be passed on its own merit. As far as executive action is concerned, only this morning, the ministers approved disinvestment in sale. So we are taking executive action. We are pushing bills. I don't see us as any weaker today than what we were yesterday. Yes, it is true, one ally has withdrawn support. But as my colleague said, the government enjoys a majority, and the government will continue to do its duty. The government will continue to take executive action, and the government will continue to push for legislation in Parliament.
मैडम
Yes,
मेरा
Sanjay,
एक सवाल है
See, this question doesn't arise. As my colleague said, we have a majority in the House, we are a stable government, and nobody has questioned our stability, except few voices in the media, and don't add your voice, that's what I can say.
Yes,
मैडम
Sanjay, please.
एक सवाल है, आप कमलनाथ जी ने भी कहा कि मनीष जी लेम डक ये हमारी सरकार नहीं है। कल से आप लगातार कहते आ रहे हैं कि आंकड़ों के लिहाज से हम बहुत स्टेबल हैं, लेकिन जब हम लोग बातचीत कर रहे हैं 10:30 बजे का समय दिया गया है, पांचों मंत्री भी अपना इस्तीफा दे रहे हैं। ऐसे में एक सवाल है जो कि आपसे करना चाहूंगा, वो ये कि क्या किसी प्रादेशिक दल के इंसिस्टेंस पर आप विदेश नीति में चेंज करने को तैयार हैं, जैसा कि अब आप करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि इसके पहले आपको जरूरत नहीं पड़ी थी श्रीलंका के मामले में यूएन में एक रेजोल्यूशन में अमेंडमेंट्स लाने की, पहली बात। और दूसरी बात, क्या आपके दरवाजे नए दोस्तों के लिए खुले हुए हैं?
देखिए, जहां तक आपके पहले सवाल का ताल्लुक है, बहुत साफ तौर से ये बात निरंतर और लगातार कही गई है कि जहां तक भारत की विदेश नीति या कूटनीति का सवाल है, जो भारत का राष्ट्रहित है उसको सामने रखते हुए हम फैसला करते हैं। पर कहीं पर अगर ये ज़रूरत पड़ती है कि भारत के किसी प्रदेश की जनता की आशा और आकांक्षाओं को या उनकी भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंची है और उसको उजागर करने की ज़रूरत है, तो एक संवेदनशील सरकार होने के नाते ये भी हमारा उत्तरदायित्व बनता है और उसके ऊपर बातचीत जारी है। और जैसे कि पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर ने कहा कि हमने 9 साल से और बहुत सफलतापूर्वक एक कोएलिशन सरकार चलाई है और लोकतंत्र में जो दरवाजे और खिड़कियां हैं वो सदा खुली रहती हैं।